with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Alongside Seth Merrow, I am Anthony Mormino on an overcast morning. I've already heard raindrops, but it's kind of like somebody opened up a garden hose, did it, and turned it off because that was it. Literally,
that was quick.
2 to 3 minutes. But here's hoping as we march along in week 3. And interesting day yesterday in the world of horse racing. Not only up here, but on a personal front, Seth, now after Lafleet's feet and a few other horses got home yesterday, the last 10 weeks at Saratoga, yours truly, we have undone the disaster that was week 8 at the spa last year. So all of last year and now we have a positive return on investment that is it's funny because I tell my
coast now. No,
what?
There's no coasting.
No, but I will tell you that I never thought I would say this, but I told it's exhausting. It is, and I hate to say that because I make fun. It's like, it's like it's right there, like the North Star, and you just keep chasing it. Yet, this is the part I'll say. And maybe this is a good thing. I never feel fulfilled. I thought this is one of the first times in my life, Seth, that I reached a goal, and maybe because it's a continuum, I never feel like I just don't feel any relief. There's no relief at all. And maybe that's the nature of the continuum part, but if you'd have told me once when I was a young man, basically two and a half meets, you'd have a positive ROI. I'd be doing the jig in the middle of Nelson Avenue when it's busy. But no, I feel very little like comfort. I feel no comfort.
Yeah, I said last year, if you go back on Equidale and look at past Saratoga meets, I beat the meet 3 or 4 times.
Jesus.
Going back a while, though. And you're right. I mean, like I say, it's going back a while. So it's like, okay, I did it, but the new meet comes and you have to do it all over again.
When I was
the slate goes clean.
When I did Channel 13, I think for 8 years, 8 seasons, right? And starting with the second one, we always did a best bet, but starting with the second one, I did a bankroll. The bankroll was so far ahead. I was so proud of that. But I'm telling you, on the news, to have your thing up there all the time. But one year, what turned out to be the last year, I was done by the middle of the meet. If you don't think that was like a feeling of relief, and congratulations to Jose Ortiz that came back in the saddle yesterday for 3 wins. Linda Rice has 3 wins. But I think before we get to Jason Service, we have to talk about the last race.
That was not.
Nothing will ever beat Alumus until they DQ the wrong horse again. But, and I've said this for years, that in real time, all those discussions in the steward's room and with the jockey should be public. I find it incomprehensible, their decision. And I had no dog in the fight. And to be honest with you, kudos, because she's not vanilla ice cream, but Carrie Bryan stepped out, and I'm not saying that. I give her credit. She didn't take, the high road. She's like, I'm not a big enough name up there. But I have to say,
and if folks aren't familiar, the last race yesterday, the stewards took a long look, and if you haven't seen it yet, the head-on makes it clear. The eventual place horse had momentum, and I think if you're looking at it objectively, you have to feel like the second place horse was at the very least going to be right there and make a good move when the eventual winner came out in front. to the point where the jock is leaning out of the saddle and holding to avoid a situation.
A horrible situation.
Yeah, stewards looked, and I think everybody was kind of like, "Oh, this is coming down." And then when it did,
nobody wasn't. And I'm talking people with no dogs in the fight.
And I didn't have a dog in the fight. And I always rate it because I think I don't know whether you're ever 100% clear on these things, but that to me yesterday was like a 90-10 in favor of a DQ. I mean,
98.5 to 1.5.
Yeah,
He's supposed to get days.
Yeah, no.
Jose Ortiz is supposed to get days.
I'm not arguing against the idea that one should have been changed, but I think the thought process might have been eventually the second place finisher was still 2 lengths behind, and it wasn't going to make it. And I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying that to me was a 90-10, and I'm not giving my opinion. I'm giving what I think is going to go on up there. I could have seen about a 10 and that's the way it worked out, unbelievably.
I mean, it's unimaginable how we go forward from here. At no point could I ever render a guess what they're going to decide. If they decide that one that way, I could never confidently feel as if our opinions would ever jive. I mean, and now in that case, he can't get days, right? I didn't do anything wrong. The steward said I didn't do anything wrong.
But jockeys get days when they're not DQ.
That'd be an interesting logical line then.
Well, you can have a foul but win off by 20 lengths to the point where it's like, okay, you were going to win the race anyway, so we're not going to make the DQ. But there was the incident in the race, and so they do get DQ'd they do get days without a DQ. Whether that's going to be the situation.
Better is put at the end of the line again. It's I can't imagine what it's firing up today. I'd like to meet the people besides the 3 in the booth that were for that staying up and them make the case. The other thing is Jason Service, obviously, that finally came to a head prison time. And I had said in real time years ago to our colleague Brian Addo that under no circumstances could I vote for maximum security for the 3-year-old champion that year. I thought I should have been left vacant. And now, after all that's come out, I don't think they'll do anything. I don't think enough people care. It's not going to be in the news. But it's not a good look, as you said earlier, that he is the 3-year-old Eclipse Award. I do not have an Eclipse Award ballot. Thanks to Brian Boyer, I have a Hall of Fame ballot, but I do not have an Eclipse. And that was something in real time, into the cigar mile. If I know about it, everybody knows about it. I mean, I'm a part-time guy. This is not what I do. And there you have it. And, unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean,
and I've said this before. Horse racing didn't get him.
4 years, and the judge said if I could go longer, would have gone longer. So
and the FBI got him, right? The feds got him, right? Not horse racing, but unbelievable day. But we'll see. I mean, I'll be interested to see then. I did not know that, but interested to see if Jose Ortiz gets days for that ride, because that's very dangerous.
Yeah, we'll see. Other notable yesterday, Echo Zulu with the big win, and I read this morning a 114 buyer. Steve Asmussen in the winner's circle was saying she's just fast. She's fast, and she is.
Now, I got it way wrong yesterday. They went crazy disparity between Frank's
we were both. I said to somebody who was standing
like, I couldn't have been more wrong.
Because I like Frank's Raquette. I went up and made an extra bet when the horse was 4-1. Yeah, we were saying yesterday. That was apparently
the case with the buyer speed figures. People did not care about what Frank's Raquette have. 400s?
Yeah.
But they went
I said to somebody next to me on the show this morning, we were talking about things getting closer, and they're going further apart.
We thought 4 to 5, 6 to 5. It went 1 to 5, 4 to 1.
That was crazy.
And
but,
it was
they nailed it. I will also say, I had Bill Gallo on yesterday from the National Steeplechase Association and Joe Clancy. They nailed the jumper. They both said the anticipation was that the 2 speed horses would go out. One of them did, but
mine. Mine went.
They both said L'Imperator, the former flat horse, maybe had the edge, and clearly did. Just was better than those, and ran that one down in the stretch. And also, I think Ichiban was that one you and I were talking about. coming out of the maiden breaker, and you felt short price coming out of the maiden breaker.
The problem.
Yeah.
Seven furlongs to 9.
I agreed. I just thought,
if you want to bet horses like that, go ahead.
But I was going to make the point, like that horse, 20 yards from the wire, I thought that horse had no chance. That was a comeback for the ages in the stretch, or a stretch run. That was just crazy.
Couple thoughts on rides yesterday, and this is obvious. This is clearly subjective on my part. Joel Rosario on the first flat race, Lafleet's Fleet for me, which got it done. You can see him. He did not want to go down inside. He was waiting back, wanting to take the overland route, but finally, between the quarter pole and the 3/16 pole, he gave up on that, dove down inside, and got the W. But the ride of the day, and this is something where I think psychology matters. David Aragona correctly had Relate, who was the second also eligible, 6-1 on the morning line, and got lost in the wagering. I think the AE does that. I truly believe that, folks.
Oh, yeah.
And Luis Saez had no part of it, went right to the front, and it was over. The race was over 100 yards out of the gate. Relate I always think that's interesting. The first horse has to pass. So they knew. We want in so badly, and he just dominated that race with his mind in the first 100 yards, and the race was over. So an interesting day in horse racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess, is how I would term it. But we'll see going forward. It seems as though it's going to be a nice day. Dry out. I looked for Twitter, so we're going on. It's Thursday, so it must be Steve Pick on the play of the day. The Paula play of the day up next.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week's Chevy Silverado is just $549 a month with zero due at inception. Yes, zero down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey, everybody. Steve Beck back with you for the Thursday DePaula play of the day, getting a steady diet of turf sprints. And we're going to go to the nightcap. It's a first-level allowance on the rail, Sousa Summer. Bill Mott, Gary Barber, and his familiar partners like Adam Wachtel. 4-year-old colt by Summer Front that has run a lot of races that'll be competitive, should save ground here. 5-1 fourth choice. The horse to beat is the 3, Awesome Native for George Abro. But Sousa Summer makes a lot of sense in this spot. Up close stalking trip. You get Rosario, who is easily the best turf sprint rider in the country, making the DePaula play of the day for Thursday, the 1, Sousa Summer, 5-1. Let's get lucky. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you Sunday.
When you think trucks, think DePaula.
The all-new 2024 Chevy Trax is here. Bigger, roomier, seats 5, and lots of technology. And just $419 a month, zero down.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report. I want to thank the good people at DePaula's Chevrolet for their Play of the Day sponsorship. So next 2 days will be the Brooklyn Cowboys. So we turn our attention to July 27th. This would be getting close to opening day's date in my youth, but we have 10 days in the book. This is day 11. Also remember Del Mar starts week number 2 tonight. We have a play of the day for you there. But at Saratoga, we have 2-year-old state breds, maiden special weights, dashing 5.5 on the turf. We certainly hope.
And again, if things do happen to change, I have dirt picks up on the website. We'll see. I mean, it's overcast, but I thought the forecast was okay for today. So, but we'll see. On the turf, 6, 7, 10, and 4. I'm going to put Price is Truth on top by Union Rags. A little bit of win early breeding. There's a sibling called Tripoli that won in the second start. Same for a sibling called For the Good Times. So both took a start to get it done, but that indicates, win early type of talent. Christophe Clement can have them ready. So nothing else was absolutely jumping out at me. I'll tilt in that direction. Second spot, Jimmy the Tooth. I wrote on my Equidaily picks. I said something to the effect, I think he might be able to take a bite out of this field. I couldn't help myself.
Help yourself.
You're right. Experience counts, and this one put in a couple of decent tries so far. So I think the Mike Maker runner is live in here. And in the third spot, I have Film Academy. Mark Cassie, first-time starter by Oscar Performance. Again, a little bit of win early. There were a couple of siblings that were okay and one in the second start. Blank Slate, Kinsella, both won in their second career start. But there were some other siblings that weren't so much. So a little bit of a mixed message there, but Irod Ortiz on board, so I'll put that one in. Instamatic, I think, could be interesting for Danny Garrigan, but I have it 6, 7, 10, and 4 without much enthusiasm.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. For a wide open race, I'm, shocked. We kind of strongly agree here. 67% of it with bevy full of first-time starters to land. 11 is AE, 12 is MTO here, but I have the 10 on top. Film Academy on the outside. First-time starter from Oscar Performance. I think this is a strong New York-bred pedigree. And if I remember correctly, Green Desert, wasn't that that was a long time ago, but I think he was a European sprinter, like a short distance type horse, which was then and still kind of is now atypical for them. For a second, I have Instamatic, Danny Gargan's run. I will say that, and I'm not so sure with Irad I'd get 6-1, but with the first-time starters, I want to take the longer price. Instamatic is half the price for Joel Rosario. For third, number 6, Price is True. First-time starter from Union Rags. Another horse who I think we correctly think of as a dirt performer, but has been a stronger turf-influenced stallion. So 10-4-6 in today's opener.
Second race this afternoon, we are looking at conditional claimers, $50,000 tags. Non-winners of 2 a lifetime scheduled for a mile on the grass.
And 10-11 are MTOs. 4-8 for me. Tap It Up gets my top pick for Jim Ryerson. 2 races back, broke the maiden for a tag, then tried optional claimers. 1X was ineligible to be claimed that race. Now drops into a 2L, a much better spot here. Dylan Davis, who rode this horse 2 races back to the victory, he gets the call back for second. First time in for a tag, number 2, Miss San Gabriel. 4th career start for Graham Motion, takes on winners for the first time. Very dangerous in here. And for third, I have Lady Jasmine, also first time in for a tag. Broke the maiden in debut, tried the PG Johnson last summer. Been in this condition a handful of times. Runs for a tag today, Johnny V. 4-8.
I have yours down in the 4th spot, so we have the same 4. I just have them in different order. 8, 7, 2, and 4.
I was surprised it wasn't another go.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about Lady Jasmine in a couple, because she is the dark horse play of the day. But Annihilate, Annihilate, I will let Frank Minermati handle that one. Second off the claim. The first off the claim was a nice improved performance in a starter. So I think this horse is set up to run very well this afternoon. Miss San Gabriel on the improving performances, improving numbers. Light bulb moment last time for a Grand Motion. Looks live. And, Tap It Up. I could have juggled these around a little bit. I do like my top pick quite a bit, and I'll touch on that in a moment, what jumps out at me there. But in the second race for me, 8, 7, 2, and 4. And
I said it yesterday. These weekday cards, I think, have been terrific. And it's hard. This meet is not the meet of 24 days. It's completely different. And I think they've done a great job with these weekdays. And I think it's harder to put together a great racing product. And I think they've done a terrific job, from a betting standpoint. I think it's been stupendous. On to the third, 3-year-olds and up. Capital B claimer in for 35, going 6.
3, 1, 5, and 7 for me. Brisky Frolic on top. It's Linda Rice, third off the claim and dropping back in for a tag. Claimed in a 35 N3L, now in a 35B condition. But that race the horse was claimed out of just missed, and then a couple of starter allowances. But I think gets back to probably the comfort zone this afternoon. Second slot, we'll go try it again. I think this is a potent class move. I really debating putting this one on top. But with the apprentice on board, who is still kind of shopping around for the winner's circle up here at Saratoga, I just shied away a little bit. But I do think this horse class-wise is going to match up nicely with this group. And also on a class move, it takes heart steps out of a stakes company last time. Showed some punch before fading a little bit, but I think, again, with this particular group, probably has maybe a little more of a potent speed angle to rely on here in the third, 3, 1, 5, and 7.
5, 6, 7 for me in a race that I feel is wide open. I mean, I give kudos to the horizontal players, because between the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 7, you have four major players. It Takes Heart is the one that I chose. Makes the first start since coming up from running in South Florida. Has good speed. Gets big class relief in here. I don't say that very often, but in this spot. And I will say most times these capital Bs are 3 Ls for the older horses or 3-year-olds. And this is the 3-year-old filly. For a second, American Bassett going in for a claim for the first time. They take blinkers off. First race since Tampa on the day after Groundhog Day, but coming in fresh here with the good early speed with a brilliant jockey for third, Candy Caramel. Chris Engelhardt, I think he's the morning line favorite in here. This is a very tough race, but I like the outside post position. 5, 6, 7. Also, before you get to the dark horse play of the day, the fans were 7 for 10 yesterday.
Yeah,
with favorites.
Where did because the number did click up, the winning favorite percentage now just over, a smidge over 43%.
And in the finale, they took a horse who was 8-1 part of the entry and made it second choice at 850. You don't get that too often, but the fans have been dialed in. And I have to tell you, Seth, I've been looking at some of these prices and something, and David's done a great job with the morning line, but you talk about the money that's coming in on these favorites that are winning is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But pretty soon I'm going to parse out not only the percentage of them, the average mutual I think is low, and the median is going to be very low. I mean, this win pool is being correctly assaulted by the bettors.
So far.
I mean,
you wonder if it all evens out in the end, but we're 2+ weeks in, so we'll see.
I mean, even out.
It's hard to hold at 40% though with winning favorites.
Well,
so we'll see.
My math tells me basically for 2 weeks we'd have to be at about 20%, and I hope I'm here those 2 weeks, baby. But that's tremendous.
Yeah.
The fans.
All right, dark horse play of the day for me, as I alluded to a moment ago. Second race. I have Lady Jasmine on top, and I said I'd explain a little why I really like this. It's an angle I've talked about plenty of times on the afternoon show or whatnot. I kind of jumped onto it going back years and years ago, but it's potent, and you can sometimes get some value. I'm not sure what we'll get exactly on Lady Jasmine, but I think there'll be a little bit of value there because the finishing positions certainly don't jump off the page, but they were against state-bred allowance runners. And for me, as I say, over the years, this is an angle I've liked, and it has been potent. It has played out nicely for me. Horses that are kind of regularly in that state-bred allowance company and then move into a claimer. And the last few years, even more potent, a conditional claimer. It's a very potent angle, despite what they've been doing in the state-bred allowance company. So this one, 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 5th. In that state-bred allowance company now makes the move into an open conditional claimer. I would expect a much improved performance this afternoon for the David Donk runner. And as I say, maybe with a little bit of value. So again, Dark Horse Play today is brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in downtown Saratoga. Their sister store, Impressions of Saratoga, right down Broadway, a little ways as well. We appreciate their sponsorship and recommend you stop by and browse through the 2 stores. But Dark Horse Play of the day today, race number 2, horse number 8, Lady Jasmine.
Take a quick break. When we come back, the middle pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the dark horse.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning, live from Saratoga in front of Clare Court. There's been plenty of activity in front of us and behind us. Already seen the Jim Bond limo of golf carts drive by a couple of times, one in, one out. So all is right with the world.
One quick thing that got missed in many fronts, you don't see it too often. Johnny Velasquez in the third race, destroying the temporary rail. I mean, goes through it and got taken to the hospital. And usually that type of thing, I don't know if they keep the race replay with the head-on up. The industry has a standard operating procedure of taking them down, but you can find it rather easily, the head-on. I'm not so sure I've really ever seen that before. As much as he went through it, boom, boom, and then right through it, and then got injured, take it off his mouth. So we'll see.
I haven't seen as far as today, but the press release came out yesterday afternoon. Per agent Ron Anderson, John Velasquez was evaluated at the Bone and Joint Center of the Capital Region following the incident.
I'm familiar with that place.
X-rays, is that just off I-90?
Yes.
Yeah. X-rays revealed no fractures or serious injury to Velasquez's left wrist. So good news there, but we'll see if he's on today or not. All right, fourth race on this Thursday afternoon. Plain vanilla, $16,000 claimers, 6.5.
I'm trying to remember the Arlington Million, but it was in the stretch with Powers Court. They hit the temporary rail there, but nothing like yesterday. 6-2-1, ladies and gentlemen, in here, and Richard Dutcho Jr. drops his horse in after being in starter allowance. Soft spot in here. Jamie Torres has the mount for second. Beautiful Karen. In today's day and age, it almost sounds like oxymoron, Seth. Beautiful Karen. But a strong effort, 2 back. I'm going to dismiss the slop effort most recently. And from third, David Jacobson from the rail off the trader change from Parks in May. So 6-2-1.
I have 2, 1, 4, and 5. I did put Beautiful Karen on top for Rudy. Nice little second, 2 starts back. Last time faded to be 6th. This horse isn't a standout to me, but I just thought because and pretty much everybody here, you're looking at horses that in the last couple of starts maybe haven't run their best efforts. So you're looking for rebound performances. And if this one rebounds to a better performance, and as compared to some of the others, a better performance is fairly recent, 2 starts back. So I tilted slightly in that direction. Number 1 in the second spot, David Jacobson, new in the Jacobson barn, but comes in from out of town of some performances that should match up with this bunch. And then my Mon Petit Chow in the third spot gets a little class drop third off the claim that I hope will be beneficial. But again, this to me is one of the kind of races that I find tough handicapping puzzles. Yes. Horses that for the most part in their last 1 or 2 have kind of gone in the wrong direction. And to me, you're looking in the crystal ball. Have they gone in the wrong direction permanently? Was the last an aberration? We'll find out this afternoon. But at that point, it's going to be too late.
You pays your money, you takes your chances.
But I have a 2, 1, 4, and 5.
And that's one of the complete differences between a vertical player such as myself and the horizontals. They're not really, if you're a horizontal player, you're really not allowed to skip too many races on a day. whereas I can skip 7 of them,
Yeah.
and have really no effect. I always thought that was important. It's overlooked sometimes, and maybe that's the idea where you just buy more horses, but that seems to negate the idea of bankroll and protecting your bankroll type. But that's hard for me. That's a tough race to get through. It's just a innocent race in the middle of it. Pick 4. And I know people, they don't talk about the pick 4 very much anymore. The pick 5's become so strong, but it's played. So there you have it. On to the 5th. Optional claimers, fillies and mares, 62, 2X, a mile 16th on the inner.
1, 8, 3, and 7. I'll put the Chad Brown trainee on top. The number 1 came over from France and put in a nice gutsy win in the United States debut. I think builds off of that and should go well this afternoon under Irad Ortiz. So I'll tilt with that one on top and go for a Chad Brown exactor with Veronica Green. We'll be bookending the field with the inside 1 and the outside 8. But Veronica Green comes in off a second place finish last time. Pretty good effort. I think this horse has some talent. It is Chad Brown. They try the blinkers today. Maybe that benefits the horse as well. But I do think an obvious player. And then Maison San, the Brendan Walsh runner, who is making the 3rd start back of a couple of, I think, decent efforts and the kind of efforts that maybe have the horse primed in the 3rd start back for even a better performance. So 1, 8, 3, and 7. It's
a field of 8 on the turf. And I would just say that I thought this race was like 4 or 5 deep. I just left the 1 off my list. The race might go through it, but I was thinking, 2nd star of the United States after a good debut, a little regression won't help. But it's the Chad Brown barn. There might be no regression. The horse might move forward. But you left my top pick completely off your list. Pleasant Passage, I like very much in this spot. I think I'm going to get better than 7-2. I'm getting blinkers. Mr. McGahee sends out this runner for only the 3rd start of the year. Came back in the Appalachian Stakes as the beaten favorite down a 3-year-old debut. That was at Keeneland. I think is primed for this spot in here. Now it's a deep race, but I think I'm going to get 4 or 5 to 1 on Pleasant Passage. For second, the outside horse of the turf race is Veronica Green. They add blinkers. This is the other Chad Brown runner. And for third, Miss Carol Ann, who said I wanted to put up higher, but it's just too deep a race, and I left the 1 off the board. A terrific race in here. The turf race is 8 horses. I would maybe raise an eyebrow if the 2 or the 6 won, but I'm not so sure I would do that if any of the other 6 won. It'd be like, okay. And one of those is double-digit odds. Beach Nut Trophy would not shock me.
I don't even know on a best effort whether I'd be shocked by the 2 or the 6. I mean, you go down the page and on their better efforts, I think.
Okay.
I think they mix
Fair
up
enough. I mean, it's a terrific
I agree.
race.
They'll be the 2 prices in the but
yes, they're going to because
there are races on the page.
Graham Motion is going to be a price in this race, and I think she fits, let's say.
6 races this afternoon. We are looking at state-bred maiden special 2-year-old fillies going 3/4
I'm
of a mile.
interested to see if we have agreement. It's of some sort with the firsters in here. It's 6. We do not. That makes more sense to me. So we like to have the whole field covered between the 2 of us. 6, 8, 7 for me, and we have 2 horses that have started. The 2 and the 5. You have the 5. Neither of us have the 2. The rest are firsters. The other 7 are firsters. So I'm like 1 step below, completely guessing. And so so I took the old Cantheros angle for a New York bred. If I remember correctly, Cantheros had a 3-for-3 career. Steve Asmussen.
I don't remember, but
he had a very brief career.
Sire worth watching.
Yes, he was precocious. He's passed on that gene. I think he was Steve Asmussen's barn. I think he won one of our juvenile stakes, and that was it. Never ran again. So I'm just taking the Cantharos. Obviously, the Bromans, major. Boy, for length of time and investment, they might have to be the top of the heap by far for the New York bred program. For second, number 8, Focus Pocus, goes out for Horatio DePaz. And for third, another first-time starter for Jeremiah, number 7, Lady Arwen. I'm taking a shot at the firster. 6, 8, 7. Taking a shot at the pronunciation. 6, 8, 7.
I went 3, 7, 5, and then I had your 6 down the 4th spot because of Cantheros, but it was the dam's first fall, so I didn't know what to go with there. But Caldwell Loves Gold, Golden Sense on top. If you listen enough, you know I like that one as a sire win early types. Dam produced a lone racing sibling from the dam named Eminency. Took 8 starts to win. That one normally wouldn't jump off the page at me, but in those 8 starts had the win and 4 seconds. So I thought there was a little early talent there to lean on. You add that into the sire, I like quite a bit. And nothing else jumping off the page. I thought Caldwell Loves Gold was playable and interesting. Lady Arwen, the Jeremiah horse by Audible. What was notable to me, maybe they touted themselves a little bit on July 20th with the bullet work. That was best of 89. You fire a best of 89 is an unraced 2-year-old filly. As I say, they may be touting that one a little bit with the morning workout. Grab the Glory. Experience counts. Linda Rice and Barry Schwartz runner has put in a couple of decent efforts so far, and off of those has to be in consideration today. So 3, 7, 5, and 6.
And of note, not at odds on, but St. Joe Louis ran 3rd yesterday. Didn't win, but didn't run 2nd. Got a better price, but it didn't matter. Just really finds a way to.
I had some crazy stats on that I put in the time.
You found another horse that lost 4
negative stats.
Yes,
that I thought
just as important
was worth taking a look at, and I'm not going to be able to find it, but it was in time. I felt pretty good that I come up with those and stuck them in.
And you should. I was funny because ever since he was in the PPs last year, I have watched to see, and I'm watching closely across the race I look at to find somebody that lost 4 consecutive races at odds on. We'll be right back for the late pick 4.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. But here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falbrough. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
7 on this Thursday morning. A little breeze out. Going to be an interesting day for the meteorologists. We're going to be 8.5 furlongs on the Mellon turf, the outer turf. 4-year-olds and up. Claimers in for 25.
3, 5, 12, and 8. Cupid's Claws on top. And I went back to the last time this horse was on the turf. It was a pretty good run down at Gulfstream. Now, it was at a distance, a pretty good run number-wise, but it was also at a distance. So, but you go down the page and the 2 turf races further down the page before that, again, number-wise were pretty good. The finishing positions, not so much. But you look at those performances, those numbers on the turf, and look at the class move today. I'll put Cupid's Claws on top. Eyes on Target in the 2nd spot. Mike Maker trainee. Again, number-wise, has some very good numbers down the page. The last start, not so much so down at Laurel, but wasn't a bad effort. But again, like the top pick, moving down the claiming ladder in a way that I think moves the horse up potentially. And then in the 3rd spot, Land Biscuit off the claim for Dave Donk. And this one put in a very nice effort last time right at this level. Gets stuck outside, or I might have been tempted to put this one in one of the top 2 spots, but we'll have to work a little bit from that post position at this trip. But I have it 3, 5, 12, and 8.
5, 11, 8 for me. Eyes on Target. I think Mike Maker has this one primed. Only 1 start since income tax day. Get Irad Ortiz, which is, there's a point where you don't have to guess by not knowing, because I don't know. But your intentions are pretty serious when you get Irad Ortiz. He's just not going to ride. And this, I think, is a fair thing. They're not going to ride horses that are outsiders for you. you're not going to want him to ride Outsiders for you, because when they run 11th and then you call them back and you have a live one, they'll be like, you put me on an 11th place horse. I'm not.
I will also say, I wonder if Irad has relationships with Trent. I'm sure he wants to win up here and whatnot. And maybe up here it's a little bit different. But I have thought in the past in a claiming race, if you're thinking, we hope somebody else takes this one home, let's put Irad on board so that people are thinking, oh, this one's live. Let's jump in for this. I wonder if that kind of thinking goes on.
That's a great point. I mean, there's so much involved in every single race. You're right. I think, though, that certain people, like for a Mike Maker,
and up here
they want to win. I can win the race. Like I win it, whether I get claimed or not is different. Speedy Hans for second. Yes, we're on the outside. The other Mike Maker horse, Manny Franco, I think we'll have to use early speed to get good position into the first turn. And then for third, number 8, Tommy B. So 5, 11, 8. I mean, you would never get a straight answer, and we understand that protecting, but it's fun to do it. But, there's nothing objective about it. You're just guessing.
I think there are some things you could bring a trainer in and ask about on the claiming side. If I have trainers in, I will rarely ask about a horse. Hey, this afternoon you've got this horse in the claiming, because I always think claiming races I'm not going to ask about because I don't know.
I think that's a good
But also on something like that, I don't know whether you get, because you'd be blowing their strategy in those situations. So I don't know.
No, I agree. That's why I think asking about the maiden claiming and they won, I think they'd be up front, because I think that's accounting.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I just want to cry because I can't see any other they have to be in tears. Going one word.
8th race this afternoon. It is the Birdstone, $150,000, and they will travel 1.75 miles.
And it's a race that's stuck. I mean, as it should for Mary Lou Whitney, and a Travers winner and a Belmont winner. Won the Champagne also, right? Very intriguing career he had. I mean, 3 big races, but didn't run off it.
Yeah, the Tom Durkin call and the Belmont.
Yeah.
Wasn't
I was there that day.
This was the big storm up here, right? The crazy, and Mary Lou Whitney was on. Yeah.
I was in the turf terrace watching it come in, and they canceled the last race, rightfully so. And I'm 7.56, and next is going to be a very short price in here, coming off of the Brooklyn win. It's a unique race. I like long distance races. What do we have? The Temperance Hill in the fall.
Yeah,
is one of those long ones. They start the stretch. But next to me seems to be in very good spot here to win the Birdstone, coming off of 2. How often do you think you've said this? Coming off back-to-back 1.5 mile dirt races. To stretch out today. And then Time for Trouble. Jeff Heil sends in this runner. These races are unique, speed and how dangerous it could be. Well, I have the speed, so that's good. Lone Rock comes off of a poor effort in the second start of the year. Now, that was a big regression move there. But 7.56 in a very tactical race, I think.
I'm right in the same ballpark. 7.52 and 6. But next, off of that Brooklyn, looks to potentially be able to lope along on the lead. We've talked about it many times. It's counterintuitive. The longer they go, speed can become more potent because nobody's going to go out there and really push. Hopefully, we'll see. I mean, there are a couple other horses that also tend to maybe have a little early punch. But at 1.75 miles, if you're out there pushing, nobody's going to be around at the end. So we'll look for this one to float on the front end as before. Time for Trouble, I thought was intriguing, a little bit of a price potentially, but has some marathonish races, albeit on the turf. But the dirt race 2 back was okay. The Skipper 2 comes out of shorter races, but seems to be in good form. Sometimes that's beneficial. We'll see. But Lone Rock, I think, was a marathoner of note.
Yes.
If you went back a year, a little more than that. I'm not sure of the current form. Seafoam goes out for Marshall Graham and Company. Could be a little bit intriguing with a nice Saratoga record. Dash Attack, I liked the McPeak runner a little bit earlier in the career. When you go back to the Smarty Jones last year, didn't quite live up to that, but could be interesting. I have it 7.5, 2 and 6.
You know what's, I think, very unique about next is he's like, this is his game.
Yeah.
And there's very few opportunities. Take our final break. When we come back, the second half of the 25 furlong daily double. Right, 14 and 11. I think they did something like that last year for the Birdstone. I vaguely remember like two of the longest races, and I think they put them back.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to race number 9. As I said, going into the break, we have the 14 furlong Birdstone, and now we have the 11 furlong, making it for 25 furlongs. Go get some Manhattan clam chowder and enjoy the half hour.
I also made the good point during the break. The jockeys may not be for the back-to-back. Yikes!
Well, I want a 6 furlong before and after it. So optional claimers in for 62 2X, going 11 on the inner.
12, 2, 7, and 3. Going back to the Jonathan Shepard days, I was always a fan of the Augustin runners coming up to Saratoga. And I think this one could be a little bit interesting for trainer Jonathan Thomas. The lone start this season was back in January down at Gulfstream. It was an okay third place finish, but you go down the page a little bit. This horse is a bona fide stakes performer. Now comes back for the tag off the layoff. Workouts seem okay. I'll tilt in that direction. I think we'll get a little bit of a price. Second spot, Space Launch, the number 2 horse, goes out for Christoph Klemanov. A couple of good tries down at Belmont so far. I would think would be primed for a nice effort. And then our friends at West Point and Shug have Dripping Gold, who, again, I think on a best performance is firmly in the conversation with this group. I think you can point to 3 or 4 or 5 in here who are certainly live if they fire their best shot. But for me, 12, 2, 7, and 3.
I love this race, Seth. I'm 3, 2, 7. One night standards. Listen for the announcements at the start of the day, but I think in very good shape. It sounds odd. It's 11 furlongs. It's 3 turns. I like the fact that I'm inside right off the bat. I know we often will get a very soft opening, really around the turn, past the stands the first time, but I like being just down inside, listed as gelding for the first time. Ran on June 9th. They're reporting gelding on July 7th. So that's 20 days. Having spoken with some trainers, right, that sounds like the, possible. It sounds, as a layperson, it sounds like 20 days. I want more time to recover than that, but apparently not. Space Launch from the temporary rail is my second pick. Number 2, Christophe Clement's runner. 2 starts this year, runner-up most recently, and then Dripping Gold for Shug McGahee. 3, 2, 7, and a very fun night.
And I'm just, excuse me for looking away, but
no,
I'm just trying to verify. You said Woodbine? I'm being told Woodbine canceled today, and I was just looking for an absolute verification. They're saying poor weather, I'm being told in my ear, so
okay,
a little update there. 10th and final today at Saratoga. Allowance non-winners are 1, 5.5 furlongs on the grass.
Wild stat for me, 2-3-1. Richie's my top pick. Has shown good speed down in South Florida. I think, and I had the same situation yesterday where I believe I'm going to receive a good trip with my selection. It will then become paramount to get that moment to get out, because I think we're going to be on the temporary route. Remember, they're both at 18 feet. And I like my position. Luis Saez was, what horse was it yesterday? Not the relate one. Our Shot might have been the ride of the meet, and it might be the ride of the meet at the end of the meet. He was so brilliant on Our Shot. I need it again with Richie. For second, number 3, Awesome Native, making the first start since May from the powerful Jorge Abreu barn. Just most recently won the New York bred 2X. Now, because of the conditions, gets to run an open company 1X. And for third from the rail, number 1 for Belmont, 2, 3, 1. And you're in the same ballpark.
1-3-7-9 for me. Sasua Summer on top off a good try last time for Belmont down at Belmont, but ran well at Aqueduct before. So I think coming up here at Saratoga will get a good performance, as this horse is, in fact, 1 for 1 up here. Awesome Native in the second spot, fairly lightly raced. Tries the turf today. If this horse takes to the turf, I think there is a very good possibility we get a very, very good effort. And then in the third spot, Super Quest, and super being spelled with an O-U. That means it's a live oak plantation runner for Mark Cassidy off a debut win last December. Now comes back. But again, given what we saw in the debut, I'll put that one in the mix. 1-3-7-9.
You know, I've had an eye on Woodbine for.
And it's extreme heat I saw from.
Yes, I was going to say I saw Woodbine for a long time. I went there 30 years ago when the track was configured the old way. But the last couple of years, Live Oak Plantation and Mark Cassidy, I thought, have run far more horses up in Woodbine than I ever remember. I mean, she was a big New York with Pat Kelly, Florida, etc. But the last couple of years, I mean, I watch you in the afternoon during the rest of the year, and, you know, their silks are very distinctive, which strip handicappers love. And I see them up there very frequently, and I don't see them in New York.
It could be a couple of things. Maybe they think we have some turf runners, and you have nice turf
which they were almost always turf runner people.
Or you think they're going to run well on the synthetic. But also, the other thing is they're tied in with Mark Cassidy, and you're going to get some wins up there if you're tied in with Mark Cassidy.
So that's, I don't, and now that I think about it, I don't see them in New York. I mean, black sleeves, white, red dots. I mean, I don't see them in New York anymore, but they're up there.
Yeah, I have not seen Mrs. Weber here so far this year, but I would expect she would. I'm just saying I haven't seen her.
Well, more importantly, she hasn't seen you.
No, that would be debatable.
I don't think so, but any news and notes?
Oh, I should.
Is this your first guess on RAA?
Yes.
I say, because if it's not,
I'll hit.
Bring it. You can flip it just like the other day.
I will. While that's going on, I will give you an update on promos that are coming up.
Oh no, you have to stop. I thought it was a different product.
Oh.
Come over here, Kim. You don't have to come on. So you are too nice. The other day. There you go. Thank you. The other day, they stopped by. Last Thursday? Was it last Thursday? Yeah, last Thursday. Yes. So last Thursday they stopped by, the group of them, and they had a treat bag. And you are more dialed, so it's the doggy name, but these were, it was great packaging. And I was like, it's like dogs and horses. I'm like, I like Swedish fish. So Kim that was too nice. My wife doesn't even remember that well. So I'm looking, I'm like, well, we'll plumb it. And I'm nearsighted, my glass over here. She gets it right here. I go, she's like, Swedish fish. I'm like, too good.
Asking you show.
That is, well, we have to share them. We'll leave it. That is thoughtful, is beyond words to say. So obviously, let's do the promos, and then we'll do
prize wheel down at the clubhouse today. If you stop by, folks randomly selected throughout the afternoon to spin the prize wheel. Friday, it's the trifecta challenge. The bounty bet also returns on Friday. Saturday, it's a fan appreciation day at Partners Pub up in that Johnstown, Gloversville area. Stop by. You went to school with all the Landseys, so you can say hello to the Landseys. Play the board contest down at the clubhouse racebook on Saturday. Double promo day coming up on Sunday at the Racebook. And don't forget, tomorrow we open up our entries for the Sunday show pool. That'll be the website tomorrow, Friday. Coming up, yes, you're right. It's our friend Kim Weir. I had to call her off the bench late because if folks saw me,
who are we throwing under the bus?
If folks saw me looking at my, because he says get me on another time.
Okay.
And jockeys, you're always. I had Raylu coming in, and I was really looking forward to it. Raylu Gutierrez, but he said I had something come up. I just can't make it. Let's do it.
Which I'm teasing because we understand. I mean, it is. We are very grateful when the it's not easy for a number of reasons, and obviously, it's probably who our fans would more want to see than us.
But I put out the call. I knew Kim would fill in. And so Kim Weir from the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation will get her visit in a little bit later on. Dave Grenig, part of the Thursday rotation daily racing form guys. We'll talk some of the stakes that have run, some of the stakes coming up. And then Umberto Chavez from the New York Racetrack Chaplaincy towards the end of the program. The jockey basketball game coming up next week. We have the brunch that honors Tracy and Todd Pletcher coming up. They have a bunch of events and whatnot, so we'll talk with Umberto a little bit later.
Are you the coach now? You said you retired from playing, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
You got to get somebody else. What's the kid's name? Who is the guy? He's out of Washington now. Was Boeheim's right-hand man. Mike what?
If you hadn't Mike, I can't.
Simple last name.
Yeah.
Not Morgan, but you should
long
be that.
Time, and he was the heir
he
apparent.
Thought he was getting the job.
I'm moving on.
Go to the other side of the country. Well, you could be that. You could be the right-hand guy of the coach. You made your basket, right? That was it.
That's it. Exactly. I scored, and I was out.
Couple quick notes. Very important.
Hopkins.
Good job. The Syracuse guy gets it. Mike Hopkins. You could be the Mike Hopkins.
And speaking of, there's always a ringer every year, and I think he's back again this year. I think Umberto the other day told me.
Don't even say.
John Wallace. John Wallace. There's a picture of John. There's a couple of jockeys.
You'll be his valet for it. But quick note. I mean, it's obviously the weather is always a thing. It's an interesting morning, so please pay attention. The John Velasquez thing, please pay attention. Good to see Jose Ortiz back in the saddle. He stays, I go. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great Thursday. Well, what do you think, John? Is he a friend of somebody or just in the
that's a good question. I don't know, but they had him last year, and I think Umberto said.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Thorough Pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.